This is the top 8 best great powers in Victoria 2, which doesn't even make sense because there are only 8 great powers in Victoria 2. But do you even recall what these 8 were? In first place, Prussia. It's the core identity of Vic2. Forming Großdeutschland is a passing right of any Vic to initiate, mixing heavy diplomacy and sphering with intensive wargame to reclaim all German cores. A very large population base permits large gains for your RGOs and industries. Then combine all that with strong literacy in the population that make technological breakout even faster. It is very easy to dominate the world with strong military influence once everything is united under your personal rule. In second place, Russia. Drop the P from Prussia and you get Russia. P stands for progress. P for perseverance. P for prosperity. P for privilege, of course. Here, as Russia only has minimal literacy, it is almost impossible to get it up to speed until much later in the game, when your military allows you to integrate more literate population of your neighbors. Playing Russia is like fielding a massive army for war, but not really having any economical backbone that you can fall back to. Of course, the political instability almost often finishes into much more radical transformations, allowing you to play as the Soviet Union in the endgames. In third place, the United Kingdom, the namesake of the king, the nation of Queen Victoria. The United Kingdoms is the game. Playing it feels great and animating. The whole saying, the empire in which the sun never sets, is the truth here. You never have nothing to do as the UK. There's always a war to be conducted and influence manipulation to be regulated. The UK might be the lengthiest games you will ever play also, having to almost constantly run at only speed 3 from the start, so you can oversee your entire troops and industry. Sometimes even crawling down to a turn-by-turn possible real-time gaming moment. You'll for sure have an exhilarating ride with the Queen's Crown's possessions in Victoria 2. I mean, at least you don't have to actually do any continental combat when you have the Germans on your side. In fourth place, France. La France, mon petit bébé. This one is so satisfying to play. I also recommend it to everyone as a first nation to play and learn the ropes of the game. It is relatively concentrated in Western Europe, but France has outreaches all over the world with small islands, allowing early colonization in Madagascar and Oceania. Of course, France has the vestigial possessions in Algeria, allowing for quick expansion in that front. The core literate population base allows for quick education and industrialization, making France competing quickly for the first place against other great powers. Solid military base and robust navy allows France to bully all her neighbors for a quick dominance of the world stage. The second half of the list starts with Austria in 5th position. Austria has been becoming a derelict nation. It once stood tall and was a dominant power of Central Europe, but the diverse empire was too fragile to support the global tensions, and the discontentment grows, and internal disputes rife. Austria often make yielding political decisions, such as becoming Austria-Hungary. Its only real opportunity is to dive toward the weakened nations of the Balkans, including the Ottomans. But as the game progressed, the forming nations surrounding Austria, the likes of Prussia, Russia, Italy, or even Poland, come and start threatening Austria's very core existence. Playing Austria can be proven to be somewhat enraging, especially in the late game when you start to get dismantled by everyone and their mom. The sick man of Europe is in 6th place. The Ottoman Empire has the same fate as Austria, It once was the center of the Islamic world. It now started to lose a lot of control and influence over its previous dominions, ceding important concessions in the Balkans, usually not by choice but by brute force. The shattered empire can even drop out to a mere Republic of Turkey in the endgame. In 7th place, the USA, the United States of America. You know it's 7th place, but really just simply choosing it is instantly winning the game. What is the point of playing any other great powers? As anyway, the late game political spectrum will be polluted by liberalism, when you can just simply do it from the start. Now that is true freedom, an honest democracy. It does have some downside though. The industrialization on laissez-faire can be a real killer for growth. Being unable to construct or simply subsidize factories, we have to suffer whatever the capitalist AI would be best at developing. But despite this, by being a democracy in the new world, and more specifically being called the United States of America, it grants you an almost monopoly on the entirety of migrations. Everyone wants to go to the States. A big war in Europe, pitting all the big boys, and you have tens of thousands of migrants a day for a while. A typical sized rebellion in China, hundreds of thousands a day. But there's still one small bump in the road of the United States of America. There will inevitably be a war against yourself. But splitting out from the CSA and having to reconquer it isn't so hard when you know how to ship out the Dixie Boys to Africa for an extended stay. And in the final place, Spain. A recently deceased empire, Spain in 1836 lost control of almost the entirety of its holdings in the New World in the last few decades. The loss of the lucrative unpaid labor of these old colonies have a hard impact on the motherland, causing slog in the industrialization, and Spain starts requiring to play catch-up rapidly against the rising powers of Italy and early modernization of Japan, often causing it to befall into the ranks of second powers or mere civilized nations for eternity.